Welcome everyone to Sandy's Story Time. I have a great story for you this morning. It's called The Queen's Lace. I wrote this in 1948. I hope you enjoy it. Let's begin. Once upon a time, on the top of Laneville Hill, there had been standing a very old palace. It was nearly 100 years old, and in this palace lived the King and Queen of Thrones. The king was a tall, dark-haired man with a long, curly mustache. Every day the king would sit on his throne wearing a long fur robe and a gold crown, just as proud as ever. The queen was very slender. She had golden blonde hair, a lovely sweet smile, and a soft voice. The queen had everything she wanted: gold, diamonds, jewelry, silks and satins. Everything that a queen could want was hers. One day, while the queen was sitting out in the garden alone, she heard a funny little voice that seemed to be saying, "Let me in, let me in." She went over to the porch gate. She opened it very quietly, and there standing before her was a short, plump little man wearing a green suit with a red cap upon his head. The little man said, "Will you let me in?" The queen paused a moment, then she answered, "All right, you may come in, but only for a few minutes." The queen led him over to where she was sitting and asked, "What is your name, little man, and where do you live?" "My name is Skimp," said the man. "Skimp, what a funny name, and where do you live, Skimp?" said the queen. "Oh dear," said Skimp, "I have to go now, but I will be here tomorrow at the same time." Before the queen could say anything, he was gone. "Oh well, I guess I will just have to meet him here tomorrow," thought the queen. The next day arrived, and the queen was out on the terrace when the same little knock came at the porch door. The queen went over to the door and opened it. There, standing before her, was little Skimp. Come in," said the queen. "Now, will you show me what you have for me?" "I just have a sample," said Skimp, "but I will show it to you." He put his hand in his pocket and pulled out a long piece of white material. "What is this?" asked the queen. "It is lace spun by the great Skimp himself." The queen looked at Skimp and said, "Oh, what beautiful lace! Do you have any more of this lace?" she asked. "Oh yes, I can make you a dress of lace. Would you really bring me a dress of this beautiful lace, Skimp?" "Yes, I will bring you a dress the day after tomorrow, but you must promise me that you will not breathe a word about this to anyone or the king until I come again." "I promise," said the queen. Then like a flash he was gone. The next day came, and the queen could hardly wait. Finally the second day came, when Skimp was to bring the queen a dress of lace. All day long the queen kept asking the time. The king was getting slightly suspicious. At last she was out on the terrace, ready and waiting for Skimp, when all of a sudden a soft knock came at the door. "Come in, Skimp," said the queen. The door opened very quietly, and in popped the king. "Oh, aha!" cried the king. "Aha!" cried the king. "So you have another fairer than I." The queen tried to explain, but every time she would try, the king would interrupt. Finally, the queen told the king the whole story. "Well, I'm sorry," said the king. "I guess I didn't understand." "But what about Skimp?" asked the queen. "Another day has passed, and it is almost time for him to come." Then away she ran out into the garden. Just as she expected, a little knock came at the porch door. Come in," said the queen. The door opened, and there stood Skimp with a white lace dress over his arm. "Have you brought me a dress?" asked the queen. "Yes, I brought you a dress of lace." "Why were you not here the other day?" The queen told Skimp the whole story. "Well, I am glad you told the king, because he would have found out some other way. I have to be going now. Goodbye, queen. Goodbye, Skimp. Come back sometime and visit. You are always welcome." The end. Hope you enjoyed the story. I sure had fun telling it.